Hey everyone, I'm back with my final long-term review for the Prima System backpack from Boundary Supply. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I've been having a hard time finding some time to do this. With good lighting, I've been wanting to do this in the daytime. So the Prima System backpack. This has been an excellent bag. I have this fully kitted out right now with all the stuff that I would have to carry. This is more than the stuff I would carry every day, but this is just to show you kind of what a maximum load kind of looks like. So it looks pretty stuffed right now. And you can kind of tell up here when you do have it loaded to the top, it gets a little weird with the flap. You can probably put a little something more in here, but then it's going to be a little hard to close this. So let's get started. I'm just going to dump my stuff out, and then I'm going to start talking about the actual bag itself, organization, material, stuff like that. Okay, so I like that it has, I talked about this in my first impressions review, I like any bag that has a spot for me to put a light. Just these, it's out of the way, it doesn't take up any space, and I really don't see why more people don't do this. And I'll talk about this bottom material in a little bit. I don't like this, and I'll talk about why in a second. So let's get this unloaded. U-lock fits great, no problems here. I'll start with this, actually no, I'll start with the inside, because it's if you pack stuff up here and then you pack it all fully down here, it's going to get hard to get to the stuff up here, and this stuff's going to get smashed, depending on how much stuff you put in here. These magnetic buckles are amazing. I'll do this one time for you guys in case you didn't see my other video. Just like that. There's no finding, no lining up. It just kind of catches itself. And that's all. That's all you got to do. Okay. All right. It's got a little snap right here. This, by the way, is amazing. It's combining, the thing I like a lot about bags is the roll top design, but it's also eliminating one of the bigger problems with roll tops is finding the stuff that you have all the way at the bottom. If I can't imagine accessing stuff down here, if I didn't have that zipper available, you'd have to basically go in there and like dig into the bag. So it's great that you can do this. I really like that a lot. Okay, let's get this going. Shirt, pants, work shoes, not just gym shoes, because work shoes take up a lot more space and you can't really smash these down and fold them and bend them and stuff. So work shoes is legit. I'll put these down here. That's kind of gross. I don't want them on the table. My WASD keyboard. Cable all the way at the bottom. One of the things I like most, I don't know if you can see that down there, is that the laptop compartment, actually not the laptop compartment, this little extra pocket doesn't go all the way to the bottom. It kind of stops short of the last little area down here. It kind of stops like right here. So you get about this much space for a little extra something. And of course down there is my Mission Workshop tool roll, completely out of the way. It's amazing. Up here I have my RHA earbuds. And then in here, some of the heavier stuff. I tried to find a better spot for this. I never did quite find the sweet spot with this bag. It's just there's a good amount of pockets, but it's just a little weird with this form factor to kind of get to things quickly and also try to stay organized. They kind of contradict each other with this bag. But I'll talk about that when I talk about the pockets. Let's get this thing unloaded. Up here, this is probably just gonna leave this stuff in here so you can just see. So it's got like one main pocket, and then it's got a little magnetic thing here, and you have another little fleece lined pocket. I just keep my clip nail clippers and my Jaybird charger in here, and here I just have my Mac cable and the actual Jaybird, some gum and some wipes. But this is a very useful pocket. It's very big. I like it. It goes all the way to the black part of this top. It doesn't stop here like I initially thought. It goes all the way to the bottom. I like this pocket a lot. What else? Oh, the laptop compartment. So you have two separate compartments here. This has a little magnetic buckle. It's supposed to be for this, but I didn't find a practical use for this, so I didn't use it. But this makes a great spot for like folders, binders, or like just something you don't want to bend. A great place for folders. Up here I do have my Arc mouse from Microsoft. This thing is great. And then my work laptop down here. This is kind of how I have it set up. So yeah, that's basically the loadout. Hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of the stuff that you can fit in the bag. This is quite a lot of stuff. But yeah, this is a great size bag, and you still have the extra carrying capacity down here for that just one more thing in case you need that kind of just extra space to carry something, just like a jacket, whatever. And then this also serves as a pretty good way to carry something, like if you get an unexpected package or something. This kind of, you can expand this a little and fit something down here. This is actually how I had to do it when I received my alchemy equipment backpack. I wasn't sure if these buckles were gonna hold because I really strained the hell out of this. But it worked out, everything worked great. These buckles are super strong, very excellent. No complaints about these buckles up here. So let's get into the materials. This is Codra. It seems to hold up fine, it feels great. It's not a rigid bag. It feels just like a good solid bag. And I still love the look of this like Indiana Jones on a safari kind of look. Just this brown is really, really nice to me for some reason. This bottom is Hypalon. I don't like this Hypalon material. I just wish it was some kind of tougher polyester. It catches dirt, just dust, dirt, and lint like nobody's business. And when you try to go and clean it with like a cloth or like a paper towel, you're gonna end up rubbing some of that material off of this. So it's really hard to get this clean. And it just shows dirt way too easily. I don't like this. It seems to be holding up fine. Like it's not torn, there's no holes in it. And I do put this down. And it's been holding up fine. So from a durability perspective, it's fine. I'm not a fan of just how dirty this gets. I've already talked about these magnetic buckles. They are amazing. There is some aluminum hardware here mixed with plastic. So some of the housing here is plastic, but this top piece is aluminum. And it just makes such a satisfying click when you're using them. I'm a big fan of this. I really, really like this a lot. And I like that you have a little bit of expansion here. I don't like this coarser, thicker type of bands. It's throughout the bag. I prefer like the seatbelt type bands, kind of like, grab this one over here. You see this? This is the Alchemy Equipment Backpack, by the way. This is a thinner, it's smoother seatbelt type of material. I mean, you should know what I mean when I say seatbelt, because all seatbelts feel the same way. I wish this was more like that, because when I go and put this on, this is hard to pull down. This is basically all you have to try to cinch this bag down once you put it on. And sometimes I couldn't get like a grip of this to cinch it down, like out in the cold. Like it's awkward when it's on your back because it's hard to reach this. Like you really have to like contort your body a little to get to this, and then all you really have to grip it is this tiny little thing to try to cinch this down. And because this is so coarse, it's actually pretty hard to cinch this down. See that? Like even just not even wearing it, it's hard. Can you imagine having that on you and you can barely even reach this? By the way, this little thing here, man, like, okay, let me say this first. I appreciate what Boundary was doing with this. They don't want this flapping around. And so I appreciate that this exists. This is basically to keep everything in place. But I found it just the design of this doesn't pair well with the little mechanism they put in place. So when you go and take this off, so I'm gonna just unfurl this. So this is kind of what simulating you taking off the pack. So this is it completely open, like if you want to swing it around your body to get side access to the pack. So when you put this back on, this is pretty taut like this. Like you're gonna end up doing this a lot. Like you have to like get this sucker out of the way, and then you can get to this to loosen this up. This happens to me at least once every day. And it really gets to me. Now this is something that you definitely are not going to pick up in the first day or two, which is why I think it's important to do these long-term reviews, because over time, even maybe subconsciously, you're going to start, every time you go and do the motions, you're like, man, I didn't like how that went. And over time, you're going to kind of analyze it a little more, and then you're going to come to the conclusion that, hey, this thing, I get why it exists, but man, this thing does not pair well with the way this is designed. Because see, this little lever here kind of tilts downwards, and it works well if it was by itself. But once you put this under it, it's like, well, now I can't really get to it. Now here it's easier because I can bend this back, but once it's on you, this is taut. So like trying to get in here when this is taut like this is a pain in the ass, I'm telling you. So it's a give or take. Either you want this flapping about or you want it nice and neat, and you have to struggle with remembering to move this up, move this down, move it up, move it down every time you want to come in here and do this. But I don't like this material at all. It's durable, yeah, but it just makes it more difficult than it needs to be to operate this type of mechanism. This is nice polyester lining. This is that nice soft touch fabric inside, scratch abrasion resistant. So this is great for a laptop. It's suspended. Everything is great, well in there. So talking about all the materials, this is all aluminum hardware, by the way, aluminum G-hooks. Now this is a little tricky to get in and out, but you can get rid of this. But the actual strap in there is actually buried under the fabric, and it's folded onto itself, so it's pretty hard to get in there. But it's not the end of the world, so that's fine. I'm actually going to give this a 7 for materials. The primary is this, these fasteners. I don't like these. I already described why. Here it's not so much of a problem to cinch this down, especially back here. Like, to cinch this stuff down, I'm not going to repeat myself, but this needs to be different. This shouldn't be that difficult to use, and it is. I would prefer that seatbelt material. I don't know why they chose this. Maybe because this pairs well with this type of, whatever this is, buckle. Maybe it pairs well with this and it doesn't work well with the seatbelt material. I don't know, but I don't like it. It makes it too difficult to use. The other reason I mentioned on here briefly, this catches dirt, shows dirt super easily. It is holding up well to wear, but it just picks up dirt too easily. So the third issue was the water resistance. I did get caught in a medium rain for about 15 minutes on my ride to work. And when I got there, I noticed this was soft. This is just paper cardboard. I mean, you know what this is. It was just soft, like it taking on moisture. Nothing else was wet. Nothing else felt wet. It didn't feel too damp in here. But it really made me start questioning what exactly it means to be water repellent. When I read something that says water repellent, I'm imagining that it doesn't take on any water. When water hits it, it just rolls right off of the surface and there is zero absorption happening. Obviously, that's not the case. So I don't know what it means anymore. Maybe it means it repels 80%, 70%, 60%. I don't know what marketing jargon you need to get away with saying water repellent. But it's definitely not 100% water repellent. There is some absorption happening. It's not as bad as a nomadic backpack I reviewed a while back, but it's not 100%. So yeah, 7 for materials. Build quality, I'm going to give this an 8 because there is nothing wrong with the way this is built. Materials are great. The sewing is great. There's nothing falling apart. The choice of materials and how they're applied into the bag are great. The only issue that I had was in regards to build, my initial bag had an open seam here, so this wasn't sewn shut. So I had to send them an email, which got lost because that was in the middle of their not as well organized errant Kickstarter campaign. That thing has been delayed so much and just I'm not even gonna get into that. It hasn't been a good process, but my email with this got lost in the whole shuffle of that. So they asked me to send the bag back to get repaired, and they had it for like 3 weeks, and I hadn't heard from them. I actually had to call somebody and say, hey, what's going on with my bag? And they knew right away who I was, and they're like, damn, okay, we're just gonna send you another bag, which is what I wanted them to do when I initially sent them the email, but I was gonna play along and just say, fine, I'll send it to you, so you could repair it and send it back. But it just sat there for 3 weeks, and then they ended up just sending me a new bag. And then this is fine. But from a customer service perspective, that wasn't good. I mean, I get that they had an errant Kickstarter going, and that maybe my stuff got lost in the mix, but I don't know. It feels like there's only 3 people working at that company. But it is what it is. Build quality, like I said, is great. AquaGuard zippers everywhere. Good seams, good smart design everywhere. Good organization. But that's it. These the straps are a little bit hard, but they're pretty comfortable. I didn't have a particular issue outside of what I already mentioned with these guys. The back is comfortable. I haven't ridden this in the middle of summer. It was kind of cooling off by the time I started to get to this, but there isn't any signs of use or salt buildup or anything like that. It's been good. It's been comfortable. No issues there. So now that stuff's out of the way, let me talk about the way I carry this thing. Now this, I'm gonna talk about this for a second. For me, this didn't make a lot of sense. Even though this does have the pen holders and just extra little straps to like loop stuff in. And then this has that nice stretch mesh that I like. But it just didn't make sense to me because, I don't know, I put my key here for work because that's when I get to work, I unlock my cabinet, so I take this out first. This is supposed to go in here, right here, if you can see that, but it just gets in the way. It gets in the way of the stuff that I have in there and I don't like it. So I just ended up putting it here. It's the same type of thing. So I would take this out, open my cabinet, I would reach in, grab my notebook, throw that to the side, and then all the way underneath, I would have my much beloved field pouch from Peak Design. This thing is amazing. It's just so much little organization here and such a very slim form factor. This is my favorite pouch, so I don't mind using this at all. But I have more organization here, and then I can stack this on top, so it's actually a pretty thin profile here, so it doesn't take up a lot of space in the bag the way I put it in here this way. If I were to use something like this would bulge out because everything would just fall, and so this would be sticking out something like this. And then I don't know what I would put up here. And then if I would have wanted to try to put my notebook in there as well, so suddenly this would be like a gigantic fat piece of something. And I didn't like that. I tried to use it. I tried to get the hang of it, but it didn't feel right. So I just put this to the side and I never used it. I would have much rather have this set up the way I did. So I don't have a problem recommending this bag. It's been a good experience. The bag itself, customer service has been so-so. Maybe I just had bad timing with the whole errand Kickstarter thing. But yeah, I do recommend this bag. It's $219. If I remember correctly, it was $219. It might be a little more, a little less now. I'll leave a link to their site in the description. Yeah, very positive experience with this bag, and it does come with a good amount. It does come with this camera thingy that I never used, the Verge case I think it's called. This is a good attempt to help you organize your stuff. It just didn't work out in my particular case. I would rather use my field pouch. And it did come with a waist strap, which is great because if you're charging that amount of money, just throw it in there. I'm looking at you, Mission Workshop, freaking nickel and diamond everybody after charging $300 for a bag. So yeah, that's it. Good impressions. That's it. I'll stick around the comment section if you have any questions. Otherwise, that's it for me. Have a good one. Talk to you next time.